It's a mistake for Democrats to look at the election on Tuesday as somehow saying the public is now on our side and we just got it all. We need to face the fact that the public was voting for liberal, progressive, even socialist politicians. But that term socialist triggers some people because some liars have tried to equate it with communism, and it's not the same. The fact, I've gone over this before and said the most primitive form of socialism was right here in this country in the pioneer days, where a whole community would come together to help build a barn. They have a barn raising party. Nobody got rich. Nobody said, I'll pay you for your labor. They all worked together to build that barn to meet a need that their community had, and they worked together for that. That's what socialism is in the most primitive form. Some people want to equate it with communism, and that's totally false. But the rule of thumb is that when there is a public need that the private sector either cannot do, should not do, or will not do, then it falls on the government, we the people, to provide it. One of the issues, need that should never be done by a private company is the military. The police. What you have is private armies who are the beck and call of who's paying their paycheck. Not taking an oath to the Constitution, but to that individual. That's a good illustration of one of the things they shouldn't do. There's other things they won't do. There's other things that they cannot do, like the highway system, throughout the interstate highway system. We did that as a people. That's socialism. But now we get triggered off on terms because one person says it means this to them, another person says it means that. So what we need to do is get past those terms and get at what we mean without the name applied. Like they do this saying, tell me you're this or that without using the name. Okay, and so we might address one thing that some people say. Too many people say, well, there's too many people on welfare, too many people on food stamps. Of course, a lot of these people who say that have a racist label to it. They equate food stamps, welfare, and they see a person of color. And as I showed you in one of my previous videos, that something like 35%, the highest percentage of people on food stamps are white. But that's one of the prejudices they have. But let's answer that. Are there too many people on food stamps and welfare? This might surprise you. Yes, there are too many. But the answer is not to kick them off of it. The answer is to make it so they don't need to be on it. And that's the problem. That's why there are too many on it, because they shouldn't be there. In a land with so much wealth, it should be possible for anybody to make a good living. Now, there are some people who cannot work. And for those people who are so disabled, either mentally or physically, we have to provide more than enough that they are well taken care of. There's no ifs, ands, or buts there. But many an individual would rather be working and are working, but earning so little wages, they cannot survive. And the rule should be that so long as you're willing to work, you should be able to earn a paycheck that's large enough to support a family of 4 without going on the public dole. That's the answer. Well paid. Healthcare, where everybody's covered for whatever they need. And a retirement fund, a good, healthy one, better than Social Security. But you see, that's not being addressed. And Democrats are leaning too much to the wealthy. They are like Republican light. Less calories, less taste, but a little bit more mild. That's not good. The public doesn't want that either. They want to be able to earn a decent paycheck at a job that makes them feel good, that allows them time to be with their family, for their kids to get a quality education, that no matter where they live, their children can get a good education from kindergarten all the way up to getting a PhD without going into debt at all. The only thing those kids should have to fork out money for to get that education, like in college and that on, are to buy your books. And I have to move the camera around to show you some of my books. As people know, I love books. But that should be it. And if you get sick, you should not have to say, oh, what am I going to do? I can't afford to stay home, so I'm going to go to work and spread my illness to everybody else. Sick leave, enough sick leave that covers your needs. And you can go see the doctor without going broke, all paid for. And while you're working, anybody who's worked for, like, let's say 40 years, up to 60 years of age, you put in at least 40 years of work, you should be able to retire with dignity. And that means with more than enough money to live comfortably in your golden years. That's simply what the public wants. Now, you can call that socialism if you want. I say it's what the public wants, what the public needs, what the government must supply. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope this will help some. Have a great day.